Welcome to Where Are They Now, the new CUNY Startups podcast where we sit down with alumni from our startup programs and discuss their experiences, delving into their journeys, aspirations, and the unique experiences that the CUNY Startups programs have offered them. Not just to recount success stories, but also to unravel the challenges, the lessons learned, and the moments that define their entrepreneurial path.
Hi, Henry. Thank you so much for joining us today. So can you take us back to when you first joined NVA1 in 2022? What would you say pushed you to apply to be a part of CUNY Startups?
When I first came in, I was a computer information systems major. I wasn't really sure what to do with my career, so I wanted to do something in business. I was always a social, extroverted person, but I'm always a very technical person. I wanted to see if I could use that in a business application. And so coming into college, I wanted to see how I can use technical abilities into roles within business. And so I joined NVA1 hoping to see how businesses think and business owners think and see how a business can be successfully run. And so NVA1 was a perfect opportunity for me to start and pivot my career towards into finance as what it is now.
That's awesome. So going off of that, were you at the time focused on finance recruiting, or you were still exploring?
I would say I was still exploring it as a typical freshman. I was always a person that wanted to do something in tech, but I was always open to something to do in finance. Joining NVA1 was when I truly considered considering other opportunities that are beyond just computer science. And so I saw myself doing something perhaps in finance, but it wasn't until I got an internship or some type of other work experience that really solidified my career choice.
So with that, for students that having been through NVA1, what's the biggest thing you'd say you gained from that experience?
Being able to think ahead in how to run a business successfully. A lot of students don't know what it takes to really run a successful business, which includes doing a lot of budgeting, communicating with and doing a lot of analysis between your competitors, seeing what you can build from your mission statement and turn into reality. It starts from small steps, and it can be very complex to a lot of people who are new to business. So joining NVA1 would be such a great learning experience to get your step on the, how do you say that? Get your
foot through the door. Yeah.
And getting your hands dirty, really. And it's a really good experience to really start off, especially in a business school like Baruch.
So what would you say is one skill that you took from CUNY Startups that you still use today?
Strategic thinking, knowing the whys behind the numbers, not just doing the task that is given to you, how it can be used to apply to other roles, see how it can be used to apply to your personal life, and being able to strategic think and strategize what can be done about this specific task that's given to you, and always using it to a transferable skill.
So we see that from CUNY Startups, you went on to intern at JPMorgan as an investment banking intern, and you were also at Morgan Stanley as a summer analyst. How would you say CUNY Startups contributed or helped in the journey to those internships after?
Having the technical skill set of learning Excel and being able to pitch and confidently talk in front of investors, or in this case, in a job setting, clients, having that exposure to learning how to professionally speak and present, and with also collaboration with people that are also in your team, see what type of obstacles that you guys can encounter, see how you guys can situate the task and how you guys can have a result into something positive or as a learning experience. And that itself is a really good skill set to also have, especially in the working setting.
So piggybacking off of that, would you say that these skills that you picked up in the entrepreneurship program actually intersect with certain aspects of like competitive finance?
Definitely. Being able to take on interviews, being able to confidently speak with other people, whether it's your friends, your family, or relationships, or just tightening a relationship with someone that you are not really familiar with, learning how to work in a team and collaborate in a difficult setting, and learning how to prioritize tasks, especially in environments where you're under pressure. And it's something that I've taken away from this program that I've used into not just specifically JPMorgan and Morgan Stanley, but just personally as well, learning how to time manage and making sure that your tasks are done on time and making sure everything is the way that you want it to be.
So we also saw that you placed first in a pitch competition. How did the pitching and refining ideas improve your communication and confidence? And how was the whole process like? If you could take us like back, how you were feeling, how everything went, and how it improved you like after the whole experience.
A lot of it has to do with about trusting your team and knowing and doing a lot of research and really knowing what you're saying and really know what you're doing. And instead of just doing something that doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't make sense, you need to know that it doesn't make sense. Being able to know what your limits are and being able to use each individual's positive traits or skill sets and use that as a role in the team to make sure that everyone has their chance to stand out in one way or another. So I was a finance analyst. I was part of the team who did a lot of budgets to see what money would be reasonable. At first, I thought about a number that was unreasonable, but seeing how the market is typically priced and what we can offer is what makes budget more meaningful and reasonable rather than just throwing out random numbers. It's definitely doing a lot of research and doing a lot of development, seeing what we offer and seeing what we can do that other businesses can't. And being so knowledgeable into the topic that you're in, that whatever question that's being thrown at you, you need to be able to give them a really logical answer, and these answers are typically not answers that you just think of from the top of your head. And I guess that's part of the reason why our team was so successful in the first place. Had we not done our own parts of research, we may not have come in first place. May have not had the strongest pitch that we could have had on that day.
Putting all these experiences together, would you say they helped you during your investment banking internship, or was completely different from what you had in your head pertaining to the job role?
Yeah. Well, I got my internship as a freshman, so it was before I actually joined this program.
I would
say that. Okay. So what I would say, I was part of the capital markets team back in the summer of 2022, and when I joined NVA, it was sometime during 2023, late 2023, and so a lot of what I did within that specific team, where I analyzed high yields, investment grades, as well as asset-backed securities market, a lot of them also had to do with research, and I wasn't the most research heavy individual. I did take an AP class called AP Research, and that's pretty much where I first learned how to do research, how to find reliable things. And a lot of what you did in the classroom can be applied to into a professional workforce. I did what I learned at that internship, and I applied that internship what I learned into school as well. So everything is interconnected one way or another. And I would say that this program specifically, it helped. It didn't hurt. That's what I can say. But so I could definitely say it helped because moving forward, I used the skill set that I've gained at the internship, such as public speaking, research, collaboration, communication, time management, handling deadlines under pressure. These things come up a lot, especially during interviews. They may ask you questions about how you can handle deadlines under pressure. Everything else is just technicals. And learning how to use Excel, it can also be one way to naturally learn how to communicate these technical terms to non-technical stakeholders and stuff like that. It can really make you, and joining programs like this can really help you stand out and other students who are also trying to get an investment banking internship, let's say, or just an internship in general. These skill sets definitely help you stand out.
So putting all this together with your studying abroad and your other internships after CUNY Startups, how would you say it has changed your perspective on your career, or would you say it has like changed, your career has evolved?
Yeah, I'd say, because had it not been for that program, I would still think about how I can really make the time that I still have as a college student, because I'm a senior right now. I'm going to graduate in May, and so you could say my time as a college student is dwindling or coming to an end. But I like to say I'm a forward thinker, and I like to be forward about things I can control right now. But as far as I'm concerned, the program has definitely helped shape my career in some ways, because it taught me the importance of having to think emotionally, having to think strategically, and gaining that interpersonal skill set, and being an active listener as much as I'm an active talker. These things are really important as to what make an individual succeed, not just in the professional work field, but also personally.
And before we let you go, if a Baruch student is contemplating taking any of our programs, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that this program would help them think like a real leader, and not just thinking about how to open a business, but also think like a real leader, and how a program like this can simply help an individual shape their career. If you want to be able to speak confidently, being able to handle yourself under pressure, and working in a team, and think like a leader, this program is definitely for you, especially if you want something that will not just give you experience, but also give you an insight as to how you can approach business concepts.
Definitely. Because there's a lot of teamwork and team activities that go on in our Baruch program. So I definitely agree with you on that. So thank you so much for your time today. And it was really nice hearing about your perspective and how you connected the entrepreneurship side of it to the finance side, and just learning about like your skill set and everything. And we're so glad that you came back to us to share your experiences with other students, because you're actually in your senior year, and this is like more verifiable as someone who's still kind of in the process and almost done. So thank you so much for your time today, and we hope to hear back from you sometime soon in the future. And one last thing before you go, if anyone wants to connect with you or like reach out about some things that you talked about in the interview, how would they reach you?
Reach me out personally with my LinkedIn. I'm also open to share some of my social media, if that also is okay.
Yeah, that's
like
okay.
Instagram, T_Henry HENRY.03.
Okay,
My username
perfect.
is now.
All right. So we'll definitely put the Instagram and the LinkedIn where we transcribe it. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much for your time.
Bye.
See you around. Bye-bye.